Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Monday before the A-League Men's 2025-26 season gets underway. My name's Lockie. This is Oswald Football, where we talk all things Australian football. And of course, one of the main focuses, if not the main focus of this YouTube channel, is to talk about this competition, the A-League. It's set to get underway this weekend. We are very excited. 6 very fascinating contests on the way this upcoming weekend, and there's a lot to talk about just for this weekend alone. But this is our big season preview, and we're going to be talking about all of the A-League clubs over the next hour, and it's all about engaging with you guys, building this community here. So jump in the live chat, jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts heading into this season. How do you think your team's going to go? And yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about. So it's going to be a pretty chill, relaxed conversation, talking about the transfer windows as well, taking a look at how the squads are lining up for this upcoming campaign as well. And also breaking down a little bit more in regards to my ladder prediction. My ladder prediction video is up right now on the channel. Put it up last night. And yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. I've made some big calls, I think, and I'm sure you guys have some big calls too. So if you've even got some ladder predictions, throw them in the live chat. But hello there to Lightning. Owen's joining us. G'day, Owen. Someone says in the live chat, Newcastle Jets fan TV is here. Leah Santa 23. Great to see everyone here. And Chris, and of course, I mean, tonight we are, of course, focusing on the A-League. But as Chris says here, how good was the first round of the championship? Still, obviously, a lot going on in Australian football at the moment. Fantastic first weekend of the Australian Championship, man. We saw some cracking goals. I mean, Wollongong Wolves scoring from like halfway. Absolutely insane. Fantastic stuff. Some good crowds as well around the country, which is good to see. So it's great to see that competition has finally got underway, and it has made a really exciting start. And I'm very fascinated to see how the upcoming weeks go. And of course, into the knockout phase. It's a great way to sort of kick off the domestic season here in Australian football. Australian Championship kicking off, and then 1 week later, the A-League kicking off. How good? How good? G'day, James, who's coming in hot, saying you're dreaming about Perth, mate. We're definitely going to talk a lot about Perth Glory today, as well as many other A-League teams. They're an interesting one. That's for sure. Chris says Western Sydney Wanderers are in deep troubles. 7th. Carter asks, what made you put Raw so low? We're gonna talk all about all this and more today. We're going to talk about all of it and more. Owen here. Owen, of course, MacArthur FC fan, says, thanks for putting the Bulls in second in your ladder prediction. Did not expect that. Dom, good day, Dom. He said, let's go. A-League is back. What a time for Oz football. Yes, indeed. Dude, there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot. Obviously, the A-League is back. Oz Championship now. Matildas are in action later this month. Sam Kerr back in the Tilly squad. Socceroos currently in action. Obviously, the win for the Socceroos on the weekend, which was great to see. We did the live watch along for that Canada game. A lot of fun to see the Socceroos get the win. Obviously, the game itself maybe wasn't necessarily fun from the Socceroos point of view. And we will be live. I can tell you right now, we will be live on Wednesday for your lunchtime as the Socceroos take on the USA men's national team. That is lunchtime in Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So there's a lot going on right now. Football man in the live chat says, hope from a Western Sydney Wanderers fan. I'm excited. Tickets for the derby. Got tickets for the derby. Love it. Love to hear it. We've got some big derbies. We've obviously got the F3 derby round 1, but some big derbies on the way in the weeks to come as well. Newey Jets is finally time for A-League football. Indeed. All right, we're going to jump into looking at the round 1 fixtures. We're going to take a look at my ladder prediction as well, dive into that a little bit more in depth, as well as taking a look at the transfer window in just a moment. But we've got some great comments coming in here, and love it. You can never make people happy with your ladder prediction. Tay Burns says, Adelaide bottom, ridiculous. Bailey says, Wanderers will get 4th. Lightning says, Wanderers will finish 1st. My City Boys will got to be 2nd. Bailey says, MacArthur Women's Finals finish 8th. As Alizal says, MacArthur 2nd is very bold. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I've seen that as well. It says, can't believe Wanderers haven't released their home jersey yet, and first game is Saturday. It is very bizarre, yeah. And in a lot of the promo images we've seen coming out online, like Wanderers players have been wearing like their away kit, which they've revealed. But it is weird. Wanderers are playing City at home this Saturday, and we still have no idea what the home kit looks like. So very interesting indeed. Alrighty, James says I'll be back in New Zealand for Welly's first 2 games. Tickets all locked in, hyped. Love to hear it. Yeah, if you guys are getting to any of these round 1 games, let us know. I'll definitely, of course, be at the F3 Derby. Great to see everyone joining us here for this live stream. Make sure to hit the like button to support the channel. You can also consider sending in a super chat. So, a lot to dive into. First of all, looking at these round 1 games. Adelaide United, Sydney FC kicking us off on Friday evening. The times that you are seeing here in this graphic are Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Adelaide United, Sydney FC. Let's do some early predictions as well. How do you think these games are going to play out? The Reds taking on the Sky Blues. Adelaide just sneaking into finals last year after a bit of an up and down season for them. Sydney FC obviously had a star-studded squad last year, but unable to make finals. We will be doing a live watch-along for this game, the first game of the season. We will be doing a live watch-along for this one as well, so join us for that also. I'm expecting goals in this game. I think, look, first game of the round, first game of the season, I think this could be an entertaining game to watch. So I'm going to say Adelaide, Sydney FC. I'm going to say like 2-2 at this stage, honestly. I feel like it could be a really high-scoring, entertaining game. G'day, Troy, in the live chat. Says, hi, Lockie. We are almost here, and I'm definitely going to the F3 Derby. All we need is a good start. G'day, Sam, who says, how's it going, Lockie? It's going well, man. All I want for the Jets to do this season is beat the Mariners and win the concrete. Show consistency with results and make finals. If Newcastle Jets can make finals, that's huge for them. Of course, looking to back up that success in the Australia Cup. So that first game of the season, Adelaide Sydney, we're doing a live watch along for it. Man United fan 123 says I'm saying Adelaide 1, Sydney FC 0. Tay Burns says Adelaide's keeper looking very solid. Yeah, Joshua Smith's new goalkeeper for the Reds. Very curious to see how he goes this season. James says, does Tale really have any new tactics? I mean, that's the thing as well. Once we get into the new season, I'm very curious to see if teams are lining up in different ways. Chris is backing a 2-1 win for Adelaide as well. Interesting. We've got a couple predictions for Adelaide already. Owen says 3-0 win for Sydney over Adelaide. Says, can't believe Adelaide was a contender for first place for majority of last year. Just fell apart towards the back end. Dude, I tell you what, 3-0 win away for Sydney FC at the Reds would be huge for Ufuk Talay, that's for sure. Troy's back in a 1-1 draw for Adelaide Sydney. And someone says 2-2, not a bad shout. I think a draw as well. Layers under 23 also back in a win for Sydney, while Bailey is back in a win for Adelaide. So we're getting a lot of mixed results here for this first game of the round. It should be a fun game to watch. There's no doubt about that. Of course, the Adelaide games, I mean, they always seem to have a lot of drama when Adelaide are hosting. They've got a fantastic stadium there, fantastic crowd. So great game to kick off the round. We will be doing a live watch along for that one this Friday night. Then double game on the opening day of the season. Love it. Friday night. Brisbane Roar, Macarthur FC. That's 9:05 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Brisbane Roar. I mean, we're all, I think, very fascinated to see how Brisbane go this season. A bit of a new look squad there. We're going to be taking a look at some of their ins and outs in just a moment. But for Brisbane Roar, look, new head coach Michael Valkanis, as well as all those new players arriving. They've got a fantastic kit this season. Their kits, Brisbane, I don't know if you guys have seen their kits this season. Fantastic kits that Brisbane Roar have this campaign. If they can get a win against a good Macarthur SC side, I think that would be a great start to the season for Brisbane Roar. So it's a big game for Michael Valkanis there and a Brisbane Roar there. Taking on Macarthur SC. The Bulls, if you see my ladder prediction, I'm really keen on the Bulls this year. I think they've got the squad to be really, really, really successful this season. So I'm expecting this game to be a really fascinating one because I think Brisbane Roar entering this game with a lot of hype, really eager to get that win round one. But Macarthur SC, man, I think they'll be a tough side to beat this year. Man United fan says, I'm going for goals, says 3-2 Macarthur. I could see that happening. Yep. I could see that happening. The Bulls, I reckon, win and possibly a high-scoring match. Football Man's back in a 1-0 win for Raw. Carter says it's going to be Raw 2, Bulls 0. Brisbane will have much to prove on a Friday, especially in front of a home crowd. Yeah, I mean, they're such a new-look team as well. I mean, can they get clicking? If they can get clicking early on, Brisbane Raw could be set for a big season, that's for sure. Owen's back in Brisbane for a 2-1 win. G'day to Average joining us in the live chat. It's going well, mate. Good to see you here. Dom's giving us a bit of an insight to this Brisbane Roar team. Says, keep an eye on Matt Dench and Noah Mayoroni for Raw. So many new players at Brisbane Raw. So many new players. A lot of predictions for a Brisbane win in this game. Ned joining us here. G'day, Ned. Bailey as well, saying a wins for Raw. And Sam, I'm just like you. Interesting to see how Chris Long goes. Yes, new striker at Brisbane Raw. He could be set for a big campaign in the A-League. And that's right, as Chris says here, Brisbane Roar will win the A-League. They have won every other Codes trophy, of course. Yeah, we have seen in the AFL, NRL competitions, Brisbane winning in those other codes. So can Brisbane back it up in the round ball game, the greatest code of all, of course? Man United fan says Damien De Silva is a big new addition for Macarthur. Although, as a Victory fan, I don't really like to say it. Hey, I'm sure Victory would love to have Damien De Silva back at the club, but it is a huge boost for the Bulls this season. Hey, let's talk about Saturday's games. 3 great games. Western Sydney Wanderers, Melbourne City. Got 2 teams who finished in the top 4 last year. Western Sydney Wanderers, how do they go backing up after last year? Good season last year, finished in fourth place. Melbourne City looking to defend their championship. The reigning champions, Melbourne City. Drop your predictions for this game in the live chat. It's 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Western Sydney Wanderers, Melbourne City. This is a huge clash in round 1 here. Look, Wanderers, they're going to make sure, if they're going to be successful this year, it's going to be all about their home form. And if Wanderers can open up the season with a win against the reigning champions, that would be massive for Alan Stagic's side. Absolutely massive. Average is back in that massive win. Says 3-1 to Wanderers over City. Interesting. Newcastle Jets fan TV also back in a win for Wanderers. Late 723 says City to get a 3-2 win. Says Western Sydney Wanderers are overhyped. Of course, Late 723 Sydney FC fan. Fair enough. Getting a lot of predictions in the live chat here for a Wanderers win. A Bailey 3-2. I'd love that. That'd be a fun game to watch if we can get a 3-2 win. Generally, these teams play out some pretty entertaining matches. Western Sydney Wanderers, Melbourne City. So, yeah. Oh, love it from Football Man. Says Wanderers 2. For a 2-1 win for Wanderers, Pantanzopoulos, 3rd minute of added time with the goal. Love it. Would love some late drama, that's for sure as well. Kazor, g'day Kazor, says City investor too much in the youth and not enough experience. That is one concern for me for Melbourne City. They have brought it through a lot of young guys from their own academy. And look, a lot of these guys, really talented players who I'm sure have a lot of potential. But perhaps City are lacking maybe that experience that they had last year that did help them onto the championship. So I've got a feeling Wanderers might win this game as well. I think I might side with some of you guys in the live chat. Huge game, primetime Saturday night as well. Melbourne Victory, Auckland FC. It is a rematch of last year's A-League men's semi-final, one of the semi-finals. Fantastic 2-legged time, the semi-finals as well. Of course, as just to give you guys a quick recap. Melbourne Victory, first of all, hosting that first leg. Auckland getting the win at Amy Park, which was huge for Auckland FC. And then, of course, that second leg in that semi-final, Auckland with 1 million people in their stadium. Melbourne Victory rocked up and held on and scored a couple goals to get past them in the end to win the semi-final on aggregate, go through the grand final against against an Auckland FC side who had a packed stadium backing them there. It truly was an incredible match last year in that final series. So this is a huge game here. Auckland FC will be wanting revenge. Well, they'll be out for revenge in this game here against one of the biggest sides in the A-League in Melbourne Victory. We've got some very interesting predictions in the live chat. Chris is coming in with a draw. Got some more predictions for draws here. Soccer Goat says 3-2 win for Victory, while ASN at 23 says 3-1 win for Auckland. And more predictions for draws in the live chat. And how about this? I love this. These hot take predictions here from Football Man. Says 3-3. Auckland to come back from 3-0 down. Logan Rogerson, maybe it's a star for Auckland. Dude, wow. Wouldn't that be something? Ben raises a good point here, of course. As we know, Auckland FC, no Alex Paulson for them this season. It's a big blow for Auckland. Huge blow for them. Newey Jets back in the 2-2 draw. Oh, and a big prediction here for Lightning. 4-1 Auckland. That would be a huge win for them away from home to start the season. I did see that as well. 1, 2, 3 in the live chat. Auckland away end is almost sold out. Yeah, I think it was at the A-Leagues on social media shared that, tonight that there's not many tickets remaining in the Auckland away bay at Amy Park for this game. Love it. Man United fan, 1, 2, 3. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Says Auckland need to watch out for new signings. Jean Rowe, Jelicic, and Mata. Yeah, I mean, very curious to see how victory line up with those three guys. As you say there, Man United fan. I mean, all three of those guys could sort of play as a number 10, as that central attacking midfielder. Obviously, we know Melbourne victory without Zinedine Machash now. So which of those three guys plays that central role? I mean, we may well even see someone like Jelicic play out on the left-hand side, but does Mata come in to start? Like, does Mata start round one? I think Jean Rowe maybe gets the run from the start, possibly Mata to come off the bench as well. It'll be a great game indeed, Soccer Goat. And it's West Sid fan says here, Guillermo May is a Johnny Warren contender this season. Yeah, man. I mean, coming off last season, he was good. And, with a full season under his belt now in the A-League, coming into the second year with Auckland FC. Yeah, Guillermo May. Look, maybe not Johnny Warren contender. I mean, he certainly could be up there, but certainly maybe a contender for Golden Boot. Certainly a contender for Golden Boot. Boston, thanks for the very kind super chat, mate. Really appreciate that. Says, you are a legend, Lockie, bro. Boston, bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, dude. Really appreciate the kind super chat there. Lesson 23 says, hot take, Jacob Brissett is amazing. Bit of a breakout season last year for Brissett. Curious to see how he goes this year around as well. And Man United fan says, I reckon Dillis will go with Jelicic from the left and Jean Rowe at the 10. I think I agree with you. I agree. Yeah, maybe Mata to come off the bench there as well. All righty. So the final game on Saturday, Perth Glory, Wellington Phoenix. We are going to take a look at the transfer window in just a moment, break down all the clubs and what they've been doing across the transfer window. But drop your predictions in the live chat for the distance derby. Is it still called the distance derby? I think so. Perth Glory, Wellington Phoenix. Huge trip away for Wellington Phoenix, obviously in terms of distance. Perth Glory, the team who have been very busy this transfer window, bringing in some big players, including a couple players from Wellington Phoenix and the likes of Scott Wootton and Sam Sutton. So, Perth Glory, can they start here on a positive note? Think back to round one last year. Perth Glory went to MacArthur SC, got absolutely whacked there, conceding goal after goal. Can they make a strong start here with a win? Al Balls in the live chat. If we could appreciate not spamming in the chat, that would be awesome. We've got some great predictions coming in. Man United fan says 3-1 win for Perth Glory. James back in a 2-1 win for Wellington. It's a tricky one to predict. It is a tricky one to predict. I was at the preseason friendly involving both Central Coast Mariners and Wellington Phoenix yesterday, and Wellington did look good. Afenia Eze really impressed me in the forward positions there for Wellington Phoenix. No worries, Al Balls. Appreciate that, mate. 3-3 predictions is less than a 23. Love it. Hope, dude, who knows? Like this round one could easily be just a massive goal fest, really. Football Man says 4-3 to Perth. Says Taggart, a season to remember for the ages. Hey, yeah, we shouldn't forget Perth Glory have one of the best goal scorers in the A-League in Adam Taggart. And, is he finally set to get the support that he needs to really unlock him for this season and get those goals once again? Adam Taggart. Got some good players around him this season. Tom Lawrence, really exciting new signing at Perth Glory. Very late signing. Just arrived a couple days ago. James here says, calling it, says Wootton and Sutton will be dud signings, overrated like Ollie Sale. What happened to Pennington too? Yeah, I think he maybe struggled with injuries a little bit last season, but he is still there at Perth Glory. Al Balls, yeah, we'll be doing a live watch along for the USA Socceroos game on Wednesday. Yes, indeed. So, huge game coming up on Saturday night as well. Again, the kickoff times that you're seeing here on this graphic are Australian Eastern Daylight Time. But look at that Saturday, man. Wanderers C, Victory Auckland, Glory Wellington Phoenix. And of course, those three A-League games are coming off the back of the Australian Championship games early in this day. Cancel your Saturday plans. We got it sorted for you right here. Goodness me. Isn't it a good time to be a football fan in Australia? Great to see everyone joining us here for our big A-League season preview. We are talking about the round one games first of all. We're going to jump to the transfer window in just a moment. Take a look at what the clubs have been doing. Hit the like button, support the channel, and feel free to send in a super chat if you want to support us here. And make sure you're subscribed because we've got a lot of content coming up in the coming weeks. So much going on. Final game to predict here: Central Coast Mariners, Newcastle Jets. What do you guys think? F3 Derby. F3 Derby. Look, when it comes to the Ozwatch Football channel here, look, for those that don't know, we've got Coastwatch Football, which is now dedicated Mariners content. If you haven't checked out Coastwatch Football, feel free to do so if you want to check out Mariners specific content. And that's where I leave my Mariners bias at the Coastwatch Football YouTube channel. But here at Ozwatch Football, I do try to put my Mariners bias aside. F3 Derby. Got to consider that Mariners are coming off a pretty poor transfer window. And, of course, Newcastle Jets are coming off winning the Australia Cup. So if there's ever a time when Newcastle Jets are going to win an F3 Derby, it could well be this one. But, hey, I'm optimistic that Mariners can be competitive in this game. F3 Derby predictions. Hey, dude, as a Mariners fan at this current moment of time, without a head coach, I would take a draw. I think a draw would be a great result to start the season for Mariners. West Sid fan says 3-0 to Newey. Lockie Rose Hattie. Bailey with the same prediction as well. Love the prediction from LFC. Mariners with a 1-0 win. 4-0 win, says Owen, for the Newcastle Jets. And more predictions rolling in for Newcastle Jets in the live chat as well. Hey, look, I don't blame you. Look, Newcastle Jets, the big question around them is, can they convert this Australia Cup triumph, the success that they experienced in the Australia Cup, can they convert it into A-League success? Because that's the big question. Look, first trophy in 17 years, huge for Newcastle Jets. And what a start for new head coach Mark Milligan. But this Newcastle Jets team has been starved of finals football. They are craving finals football. Have they got the team to finally do it? The squad to do it over a long season, over the summer? Can they do it? I think they could, man. I do think they could. In my ladder prediction, I had them just missing out, but if they get some early results, man, they could be a real tough team to beat this year. Max Burgess, Alex Badalado, new signings coming in. Of course, Eli Adams and Clayton Taylor still to join that attack as well. The exciting young players they have coming through as well. Yeah, man. Yeah. As Dom says here, I can see Mariners really struggling this season. Yeah, look, it's a reality of the situation with all the uncertainty surrounding Central Coast Mariners and obviously losing the head coach a week out from the season starting. Not ideal, of course, goes without saying. So look, even as even as the most optimistic Mariners fans aren't expecting the best this season, but hopefully we can be competitive. Hopefully we can just at least be competitive and get some results at home. But here's the thing, right? Like just to comment on Mariners for a second. Like if Mariners pick up some wins early on this season, that'd be huge. That'd be huge, and it'll really sort of throw people off a little bit. But it might be tough. It may well be tough. Newcastle Jets Fan TV commenting on this F3 Derby says, I think our squad depth is as good as it's been for a while, especially with those young guys coming through and stepping up. We're talking about Will Dobson, Alex Nunez, Oscar Fryer, Max Cooper, Christian Bracco. I mean, yeah, man, I think Newcastle Jets are looking pretty good right now. A lot of competition for places in that starting 11 for Newcastle Jets. So maybe some selection headaches for Jets head coach Mark Milligan. Yeah, man. So 6 incredible games coming up this weekend. On top of the Oz Championship. It's a great time to be an Australian football fan. We will be doing a live watch along for the Adelaide-Sydney game on Friday night. That is the opening game of the season. So join us on Friday night for that one. Red Sydney FC. Should be a fun game. So for those who missed it, we put out our ladder prediction video on the channel last night. And in case you haven't seen the ladder prediction, spoiler alert, here is my ladder prediction. Look, we've been doing. Some of you guys have been following the channel here for a couple of years now, and it's great to see, man. It's great to see so many familiar names in live chat. If you've joined us just recently, welcome to the family, welcome to the community. This is my 5th consecutive year of doing a YouTube video A-League ladder prediction, and So what I've learned is that you can never make everyone happy. There's always people who are upset with ladder predictions. So this is my ladder prediction. If you guys have any comments or thoughts on this, Drop it right now. As Lightning says, I'm disappointed in you, Lockie. That's a great piece of criticism. I'm disappointed. Sam says Brisbane higher, surely. Now, I will say this. For a lot of those teams in the bottom six there, as I said in the ladder prediction video, I could see a team like Brisbane Roar finishing a lot higher. I could see them pushing up, man, because they're a team who they're just so hard to predict because they have such a new squad, new head coach. And we've seen Brisbane Roar do a little bit of rebuilding in the squad and still struggle. So I'm not confident enough to say that they are going to really push up into the top six. I'm not confident enough. But we'll see. Boston, thanks again for the nice super chat, the very kind super chat there, mate. Really appreciate it. Kazor here says, my team Glory needs to be making finals. If not, gets really gone, says Kazor. And how do you think Tom Lawrence will be in the A-League? I think he could be a top signing for Perth Glory. This is a guy who was playing for Rangers, in the Scottish Premiership last season, right? He's played at some good clubs. A lot of experience in the English Championship as well. I'm sure West Sydney fan is happy with my ladder prediction as well. Dom says, wow, you're really optimistic about Perth. Yeah, dude. I mean, we're going to, the second half of the live stream, we're sort of going to take a deep dive into the transfer window. But I think Perth have done enough to justify a finals position. I think their signings have been very, very good. Ian asking, is there any football fantasy for the A-League? I haven't seen anything. Man United says, in my ladder prediction, I've got MacArthur topping the ladder. Yeah, man, I've got them in second place. I think they've got a quality team. I think they really, really do. Again, I think they're one of these teams who have made some good quality signings. Yep. 2K 2025 says, Lockie, that's okay, but the Raw are too low, and so are Newey. Again, two teams who I reckon could compete for finals. Says MacArthur and Western Sydney, they will not make the top six. The top six are Auckland, Victory, Newcastle, Sydney, City, and Brisbane. I'll tell you what, especially Western Sydney Wanderers, with the squad that Wanderers have, I'd be very surprised if they miss out on finals football. I think that would be a disaster for Wanderers. They've got a good team, man. Really, really good quality team. Chol Pippett says, Jets and Adelaide both should be higher. I mean, I feel like Newcastle Jets in seventh. I mean, where are people predicting Newcastle Jets to finish? Because, the Australia Cup success is great, but, can they do it over a full league season? That's the question. And hey, as a Mariners fan, I do appreciate this comment from West Sydney fans. So Central Coast Mariners to defy the odds and finish third. Hey, I'll take that. Charles says, I got the Jets in fifth. I mean, it would be huge. It would be huge for Newcastle Jets to play finals football this year. 2K also says Jets are fourth to sixth. And Blood Dragon here says, I have Jets in sixth as well. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of you guys have Jets possibly finishing just inside the top six. Yep. Again, it's a lot of those teams in the bottom six, it's not like I think they all suck and I think they're going to struggle. I could see a lot of them competing and really coming close to the top six there. But for me, all those top six teams, I think, should be there at the end of this season. Having said that, of course, the A-League is always impossible to predict. And we always love doing the video at the end of the season, reacting to the ladder prediction. That's always a fun one to do. So, hey, I'm sure we're going to do a reacting to ladder prediction video, come June next year. And I'm sure we're all going to be laughing at this ladder prediction in a year's time. Boston, thanks very much once again for the kind super chat. Says, bye, Lockie Legend. See you Sunday, bro. Thanks for tuning in, man. Really appreciate it. And thanks for the kind super chat. So greatly appreciate that as well. Carter coming in with a top six prediction. Says Victory first. I could see it happening. Auckland second. Third place Wanderers. City, Raw, Bulls in the top six. Brisbane in the top six. I mean, that would be huge for Michael Valkanis to get them there in his first season in charge. Yep. Newcastle Jets Fan TV also backing Jets and Perth to make the top six. Would be very interesting indeed. Charles says, solid predictions, but seems harsh to leave Sydney and Jets out of the six. But I can definitely understand why. Very unpredictable league. Yeah, Sydney FC, I feel like is the one prediction that yeah, I felt a bit not funny on, but yeah, it felt like a bit risky putting Sydney that low. But I if you watch my ladder prediction video, sort of the reasoning that I say is that you look at the squad, what Sydney FC had last season. Sydney FC had one of the most incredible attacking setups of players that we've ever seen in A-League history. Patrick Klimala, Douglas Costa, Joe Lolly, Anthony Caceres. Anthony Caceres, Adrian Segacic, Leo Senna running things in midfield. You know, they had the quality. And the team that they had, Ufuk Talay, failed to get this team to play finals football last year. Can we look? Sydney have made some good signings this transfer window, but can you look at the Sydney FC squad heading into this season? Is this Sydney squad better than the squad they have last year? I don't think so. I don't think so. And hey, they may well prove me wrong. They may well prove me wrong. I don't doubt the talents of Al Hassan Toure, of Abel Wallati. I think Paul Okonengsel is a great signing, and Marcel Tisserand coming in is great as well. But Sydney FC, I don't think their squad is as strong as last year, where they had Douglas Costa, Anthony Caceres, Adrian Segacic, Patrick Klimala. It's incredible that it is truly just gobsmacking every time I think about it that this Sydney FC team did not play finals football last year. It's one of the all-time great disasters in A-League history. So a lot of pressure on Ufuk Talay as well. Newcastle Jets Fan TV says, I agree, says Sydney will miss out on finals. I don't think Talay will survive the season. Here's the thing. I think like when it comes to like the pressure that are on some of these head coaches, I think the line has to be like, you know, New Year's Eve, you know, clicking into 2026. If we're heading into 2026 and coaches like David Zulich, Ufuk Talay, who else can we put in that? Probably those are the two main guys that are coming to mind now. Those are the two guys that are probably under the most pressure, David Zulich and Ufuk Talay. If Perth Glory and Sydney FC aren't in the top 6 by 2026, by New Year's Day, I think those guys are gone, yeah. So there's a lot of pressure on those guys to really perform, Ufuk Talay and David Zulich. So, yeah. Tay Burns says, Sydney no ACL 2. Yeah, it's worth considering, but yeah, still, I don't know if they have enough to compete in the end. Dude, LFC fan, LFC, sorry, 9, I should say. I agree with you here. So to be fair, almost anybody can make the top 6. I agree. And that's the great thing about the A-League. That's the great thing. I could see Brisbane, if they get their new squad clicking early, they could play finals football. Adelaide United, look, even though I predicted Adelaide to finish bottom, Craig Goodwin could carry Adelaide to a top 6 finish. And they've still got a lot of, you know, good young players in that squad as well. So, yeah. Cool. Carter coming in with a late change. Says, I changed my prediction. Hot take City to not make finals this year. Yeah, look, Melbourne City are an interesting one as well because, again, I think this squad's a bit weaker this season around. They're lacking a bit of it, maybe experience and quality. Marco Tilio, Jonathan Cohen departing. Still got a lot of players from last season there, but they're relying on a lot more youth this time around as well. Oh my gosh, Troy, that's an almighty hot prediction. City could finish last. That would, dude, the reigning champions, if they finish last, that would be one of the all-time incredible stories in A-League history. Yeah. It'll very, very curious to see how they go this season. That's for sure. The reigning champions, Melbourne City. Blood Dragon says City to win the premiership, Auckland to win the toilet seat. So like swapping around. So maybe City to finish first, Auckland to win the grand final. Dude, if Auckland go win the grand final, that'd be an incredible first couple seasons. They won the premiers played last season. If they can go on and win the championship this season, that'd be huge. Hey, absolutely huge. So that is my ladder prediction. You can never make everyone happy. Like, it's honestly, it's so hard. You know, you're always leaving some good teams in the bottom 6. So again, I just want to reiterate, like a lot of those teams in the bottom 6, like I wouldn't be surprised if at least 2 or 3 of them are pushing into the top 6 halfway through the season at least. Alrighty. So I want to dive into the transfer window now. There's a lot to talk about because it's been obviously a very busy transfer window, as it always is. But I do want to break down what we've seen from this transfer window and now that it is, well, obviously it closed a few weeks ago, but we have seen a few late moves. And I want to get your thoughts on how you feel your team is shaping up this season. And first of all, we'll talk about Adelaide United. We'll run through all the teams, do a quick recap on all the teams, and then we'll sort of, if you guys have any particular thoughts, feel free to throw them in the live chat. But first of all, looking at Adelaide United here we go. Let's do this. Craig Goodwin is obviously the sort of the star inclusion here for Adelaide United. The reason why I am predicting Adelaide to struggle, a big factor is the departure of three key players, and those guys are these last three players here: Zach Clough, Stefan Moore, Archie Goodwin. These guys were starting week in, week out last season for the Reds, and they've lost those three guys. There's a lot of pressure on some of the new guys coming in. Julian Quartal, who returns from his loan spell away. Juan Muniz, new attacking midfielder at the Reds as well. Joshua Smith's new goalkeeper. And Selmo, Brazilian defensive midfielder. But I feel like the Reds are lacking a little bit of quality in attack. There is now a lot of pressure on Craig Goodwin to deliver. Huge pressure. Tay says Adelaide looks solid with the internationals, just no solid striker. Yeah, and it's concerning that, look, Jake Nadovsky coming in from Western United, but they haven't really properly replaced Archie Goodwin, who is so good, was one of the best strikers in the competition last year. So, where are the goals going to come from? There's a lot of pressure now on Luka Jovanovic, young striker at Adelaide United. I've got a comment here saying Archie Goodwin is no loss. Jovanovic can do the same. So it's a very interesting window for Adelaide United. A lot of pressure on Craig Goodwin. Taking a look at Auckland FC, relatively quiet window for the reigning premiers. I do like that transfer window, bringing in the likes of Lockie Brooke, Ollie Sell, Sam Cosgrove, Jake Goodall-Reich. How about that? Only 4 ins for Auckland, but they didn't really have to do too much. Nato Moreno is a big loss. He did bring a number of goals for them. And of course, Alex Paulson, as we mentioned earlier, huge departure. He was so good once again in the A-League, this time for Auckland FC. So it is a huge departure to lose a quality keeper like that in Alex Paulson. So, look, does Ollie Sale now step in as that starting goalkeeper? Michael Wood's already there, so maybe he gets the nod. I think Sam Cosgrove could be set for a big season. Looks like a tall, strong striker, a lot of experience over in England. He could, form a really good partnership with Gijon Monet and attack for Auckland FC, that's for sure. I think Lockie Brooke, Jake Goodall-Reich's great signings as well to really strengthen that squad. And like those two guys might not even be starting. Like Lockie Brooke and Goodwood-Reich, they may well be on the bench, this season, because they've already got a really strong starting 11. A-League X joining us here in the live chat. G'day, mate. And Blood Dragon says, main concern I have for Auckland FC is goalkeeper, but I think we have an excellent defense that can cover that weak point. Yeah, like we shouldn't forget the fact that Auckland FC still have, such a strong starting 11. They've still got Sakai, Hall, Pinaka, De Vries. We do know Nando Pinaka is currently out with injury, so he should miss the start of the season, I think, we're expecting. Verstraete, Gajegos, Gajon Momai, Logan Rogerson, so many of those guys from last season are still there, so they should be there. They should be there towards the top once again. So Auckland FC, relatively quiet transfer window for them. Brisbane Roar, they've been busy. I like some of their signings. James McGarry won the championship with Mariners a few years back. They've got a new striker in Chris Long. Dean Bazanis is back in the A-League as well. So some very fascinating signings for Brisbane Roar. Houston Salas, he was at Wellington Phoenix a couple of years ago. He's back in the A-League, this time with the Queensland club. And they've got, they've moved on a lot of players here. Oh, Lucas Harrington still with the squad. It will be departing in January. They have moved on a lot of players. So it's a bit of a fresh vibe at Brisbane Roar. Milorad Stajic, new midfielder as well. So it really will feel like a new starting 11, maybe aside from Jay O'Shea. Very interesting transfer window for Brisbane Roar, that's for sure. Central Coast Mariners, not a lot to talk about. Obviously, unfortunately, pretty quiet in the transfer window. As a Mariners fan, I do think the signings of Redmayne and Donachie are good ones to provide that A-League experience to help these young guys, this very young squad here. Will Kennedy, Alexi Herides, and James Herides also coming in. But you look at those outs for Mariners. Caltac, such a key player for the Mariners in recent years as well. Mikael Docker's a big loss as well. He was good for Mariners in the last couple of years. He is away on loan. So some big departures there for Mariners also. A-Liga says, do Central Coast Mariners have a coach rumoured before the opening round? Could the Mariners be on track for the worst points tally? Hey, I hope not as a Mariners fan, mate. But as far as I'm aware, there's been no links with Mariners and a head coach. I'm sure behind the scenes conversations are happening, but we don't know anything at this stage. As a fan, my expectation is that Josh Rose will step in as interim. He's an assistant coach at the club at the moment. So that's my expectation at this stage. MacArthur SC, this is why I think they will have a really strong season, the Bulls. Ji Dong-won, a lot of experience around the globe. Anthony Caceres, one of the top midfielders in the competition. Good signings here already. Rafael Duran Martinez, Mexican forward. Could be a big season for him as well. Damien Da Silva. He was one of the top central defenders when he was at Victory a couple seasons ago as well. So, MacArthur SC. As Lightning says here, MacArthur love their City fullbacks. Yeah. Harry Politides and Callum Talbot coming over from Melbourne City as well. Look, we should acknowledge the departures of especially Marin Yakalish, who was very good last season, Keely Adamson as well, but they've really strengthened. I think the Bulls have gone a lot better this season. A lot better, and I think they'll be strong. I think they will be strong. Jumping down to Melbourne City, the reigning champions. Takeshi Kanamori coming in. Has looked good in their Champions League game so far. Elbasan Rashani, new winger coming into the club as well. But you look at those ins, man, for City, very youthful. A lot of young guys coming into the team. Some important re-signings we should highlight. But you look at the outs there, losing some quality and some experience. A bit of a youthful approach, perhaps this time around for Melbourne City. Someone says in the live chat, City signed all right. I think whether Leckie stays fit could be a difference maker. He seems to be injured a lot. Yeah, huge one for Melbourne City. If Matt Leckie can stay injury-free, that would be huge for Melbourne City. We think back to his performance in the A-League Men's Grand Final last year. Fantastic. He was unbelievable. And of course, as we know, Matt Leckie is well and truly converted into a central midfielder now. So, yeah, they need him to be fit. They need Leckie to be fit because his experience is invaluable. Lightning says, I think we should have the best goalkeeper in the league in City. Patrick Beach is certainly up there. James asking, where did Igarkovic go? He is at Western Sydney Wanderers, who we will be talking about shortly. We are rolling through these teams in alphabetical order. Melbourne Victory. How about this transfer window? Huge outs at Melbourne Victory, man. Take a look at this. I mean, in my ladder prediction, I was going to put them lower had they not made some key signings. Because they've lost Casey Boss, Daniel Arzani, Ryan Teague, Zinedine Machash. Key players in the starting 11 for Victory last season have all left. As A-League X says here, biggest ins and outs in the league. I think I agree, man. You look at the comings and goings that they've had, there's so many major players changing up there at Melbourne Victory. But you look at the ins, and I think they've done enough to remain competitive this season. Juan Mata, huge signing for Victory. I think he will get more game time at Victory this season. Matthew Grimaldi is a good signing over from Western United as well. Denny Jeanreau back in the A-League, previously with MacArthur FC. Denny Jeanreau, of course, looking to regain a spot in the Socceroos squad. Should highlight here that Jason Davidson is also back at Melbourne Victory. Good signing there. Seb Esposito, captain of the young Socceroos, is there also. Louis Dorigo and Keegan Yelich also heading over to Melbourne Victory, promoting a number of youngsters also. So it's been a busy window for Victory. Busy window. A-League X here says Jeanreau Mata will be huge. Absolutely. I think Denny Jeanreau could be set for a big season. In terms of like early shouts for Johnny Warren medal, I've got a feeling Denny Jeanreau will be up there. I think Denny Jeanreau has returned to the A-League on a mission. I think Denny Jeanreau has gone, look, I haven't made a Socceroos squad for some time now. It's been a couple of years since I made a Socceroos squad. But we know Denny Jeanreau is a talented midfielder. And I think he wants to be in that World Cup squad next year. We know those midfield positions are so competitive right now for this Socceroos team under Tony Popovich. I think Denny Jeanreau is coming back to Melbourne Victory here. And maybe Arthur Dillis has told him that you're going to be playing a key role in attacking midfield for our team with Zinedine Machash departing. This could be a huge campaign coming up for someone like Denny Jeanreau. And if he performs, if he grabs the assists, if he provides the goals with some good form. He could get a Socceroos call-up. And we've seen it from head coach Tony Popovic. We think back to when he first took over as A-League, as Socceroos head coach, and he's bringing in the likes of Nishan Velupillay, Anthony Caceres, Luke Bratton. Tony Popovic is not afraid to call up players who are performing in the A-League men's competition. Denny Jonro, could he be on their way back to the Socceroos squad? Someone says Jonro. Excuse me. It's always tricky when I'm reading out those comments. Someone says Jonro is a pretty amazing signing. It is a good one. A-League X says, I wonder what will happen with Esposito as he has to compete with Hamill, Jackson, and Miranda. Yeah, I mean, their squad depth is just incredible. Hey, but it's a fair point. Like, how much game time does Seb Esposito actually get? Because as you mentioned, 3 top quality centre backs there. Of course, as we know, Brendan Hamill's still returning from injury. But yeah, how does Seb Esposito line up in that victory backline? Yep. And as Troy says here as well, yep, don't forget the World Cup next year. So lots of players will be giving it their all. Yeah, this season could be huge, man. A lot of players really pushing for that World Cup squad. Newcastle Jets transfer window, the Australia Cup winners. Badalado, Burgess, great signings. They've been very good in their Australia Cup run. Curious to see how Irish centre-back Joe Shaughnessy goes at Newcastle Jets this season as well. New goalkeeper in James Delianov arriving from Adelaide United. Number of young players joining the team here at Newcastle Jets. So I think they've strengthened. And again, I predicted them to finish 7th, but they could push finals if they can replicate their Australia Cup success in the A-League competition. They could play finals football. Yeah, Hamish, who says here, Max Burgess, possibly one of the signings of the season. A player in his 30s playing as if he's in his 20s during the Australia Cup. He's been incredible in their Australia Cup run. And it's just hard to fathom what happened to Max Burgess at Sydney FC last season, where he was just completely frozen out of that squad. And at Newcastle Jets, he's allowed to flourish here, playing this sort of free midfield role. We saw it in the Australia Cup final. When he's on the ball, he looks so dangerous. So just a moment ago, I was talking about maybe Denny Jonro as maybe a shout for the Johnny Warren medal. I tell you what, Max Burgess could be in the running for the Johnny Warren medal. Seriously, if he can maintain the form that he's in already, Max Burgess could be in for the Johnny Warren medal, which would be huge for him and a big way to, I guess, say farewell to Sydney FC, I guess, in a way, if he could win the Johnny Warren medal with Newcastle Jets. Perth Glory, same thing every year, but I tell you what, I think they've done enough to push into finals this year. Take a look at that transfer window, guys, because it's they've been very, very busy. Some big players arriving. Brian Kaltak, Sam Sutton, Scott Wooten, A-League experience and quality. Mark Birigidis back in the A-League. How about the signings of Jaden Kaczarski and Reece Bozanovsky, 2 top young players, and Tom Lawrence, a guy with a lot of experience over in Scotland recently, and of course in the English Championship. That looks like a great signing as well. So I think Perth Glory have got a great starting 11 at least. Got good squad depth overall, really. So Perth Glory, busy transfer window once again for them. I think they'll be strong, man. I really do think so. Sydney FC, so much quality leaving the club. Klamala's loan ended. Anas Wahim, he was good last season, I thought. Adrian Sagic, of course, over now at Portsmouth. Anthony Caceres, Leo Santa departing. As we know, Douglas Costa not returning to Sydney FC this season, unfortunately. You look at their ins, and again, a lot of young guys there in this squad for Sydney FC. Alhassan Toure returning to the A-League, an interesting one. Reece Yuli, young Socceroo. Big season possibly coming up from Matthias McAllister being promoted from their academy side. And Paul Okonengsla, another young Socceroo in that team. I do think the signing of Marcel Tisserand is a good one. Experience at the back there, as well as Ben Garuccio. Piero Quispe, Victor Campuzano, the 2 attacking players there who will be looking to combine this season. Very interesting indeed. Here we go. Newcastle Jets fan TV says Sydney have lost a lot of quality. Yeah, you cannot deny the fact that they have lost so much experience and quality. And again, just looking at this transfer window, just looking at it on paper, that's why I think they won't make finals once again. Because, the signings aren't necessarily bad ones. There's a lot of promise here in their transfer window. But I don't think their squad is as strong as last season. Simple as that. A-League X says, great window they've had. Kiss Bay and Campazona might be great visas. And that's the key word, might be. They might be great visas, great visa signings. Yeah, because we'll see. You just never know. In the A-League, sometimes they do so well. They do great. But sometimes they fizzle out. They fade away. And they struggle a little bit. So very curious to see how both those guys go as well. Last couple of clubs in the transfer window. Wellington Phoenix. Another one of these clubs who have been pretty quiet in this transfer window. Ifenya Eze in that preseason friendly between Wellington and Mariners. I was in attendance for that game. Eze with a couple goals in that game. He looked good. Got a little bit of A-League experience in there. Carlo Armiento's back in the competition. Mila Jusnic also at the club. Mandrakar James, Canadian centre back at the club as well. They have lost some quality. I mean, Scott Wood and Sam Sutton, Costa Barbarousas, key players for them last season. Costa Barbarousas is a big loss, so they really need Ifenya Eze here to really step up for Wellington. And then lastly, Western Sydney Wanderers, the team who I have predicted to win the Premier's Plate. First of all, should acknowledge the outs of Nicholas Milanovic, key player for them last season, obviously winning the Johnny Warren medal. Marcus Antonsen, coming off the bench more often than not last season, but he did grab a number of goals. Zach Sapsford was a key player for Wanderers in the starting 11 last season as well. Oscar Priestman, another big departure also. But the ins are good ones. I mean, Costa Barbarousas, I think that's a great signing. You got a guy who has immense A-League experience and will hope to provide a good partnership with Brian Abrello up top. And I love the signing of Angus Thurgate. What a signing. You know, when it was announced that Western United weren't going to be involved in this upcoming A-League season, I think we're all, Angus Thurgate was one of those players we're all looking at. I think, where's he going to go? Because I'm sure every club in the A-League would love someone like Angus Thurgate at their club. He has gone to Western Sydney Wanderers. It is a huge, huge signing. Absolutely huge signing. Chuckmate says, it's so unfortunate that Western Sydney Wanderers look so strong. Hopefully their tradition of bottling trophies continues, of course, Chuck, a Sydney FC fan. Yeah, man. I mean, the window's looking good. I do like what they've done. I can't ignore some big names departing the club, but I think they've done enough to build a strong team. And I think as well, the players who are already at the club, like they're just going to get better and better. You think about that centre-back partnership at Wanderers in Pantanzopoulos and Bonatig. They'll be good once again. Gers back at left back. You got Dylan Chicluna, who will be returning from injury as well. You've got good players there at Western Sydney Wanderers. So, got some more comments coming in here. James says, I also think Knicks could be a dark horse based on pre-season performance, but it's so unpredictable. Yeah, man. Indeed. It's always so hard to predict. But Wellington Phoenix, I mean, in that preseason friendly that I watched yesterday, they looked good going forward in attack. And that's maybe an area of the park that Wellington did struggle a little bit in last season. They struggled to find those goals, and they were very defensive last year. And in that preseason friendly against Mariners, they were playing with a back five, the three central defenders and wing backs. But they moved forward with pace, and they did get numbers forward on a number of occasions, Wellington Phoenix. So, yeah, they could be one to watch this year. Someone saying here that Thurgate is huge. I was hoping we signed him for City. Oh, interesting question from Hamish here. Love it. So asks, Lockie, who are your top 3 signings on paper before the season starts? Great question. On the top of my head right now, I'm just going to go Denny Jean Rowe. I'm going to go Tom Lawrence. I think Tom Lawrence of Perth Glory is a huge signing. I'm going to say Angus Thurgate. We've just been talking about him, but Angus Thurgate, Western Sydney Wanderers. So off the top of my head, those are the 3 I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to say Denny Jean Rowe at Melbourne Victory, Tom Lawrence at Perth Glory, and Angus Thurgate at Western Sydney Wanderers. There's probably a bunch I'm missing, but those are the 3 that come to mind. James says also Knicks with that pain on the weekend, right? Yeah, I mean, he's with the New Zealand national team, right? So, yeah, you'd imagine will he return in time to play over in Perth on the weekend? Chuck Meat says, I think Auckland will take the plate. They have a largely unchanged squad, and they are so well organised. They were so well organised last season. I think Adelaide, Sydney, and Wanderers, and both Melbourne clubs all make finals. A-League X, who would be a marquee you would love to see in the A-League currently? Good question. I mean, who's available? Who's available, right? It's great to have one Mata playing in the A-League. That's the question. Who's available? Who would love to come to the A-League? I mean, Mario Balotelli was the one that was reported that maybe could happen. Hasn't come to fruition in the end, but who knows? Maybe Mario Balotelli could arrive in the mid-season transfer window. Newcastle Jets Fan TV asks, who do you think has had the best transfer window? Good question. Ooh, I think there's 3 teams that come to mind. I think Perth Glory, Melbourne Victory, and probably Macarthur SC. I think Macarthur has strengthened. So those are 3 teams that first come to mind. Troy says, I'd love Diego Costa to come here. That'd be cool. Diego Costa in the A-League. We're going to tune out on the live stream here in about 5 minutes' time. If you've got any more questions, feel free to throw them in the live chat. The A-League season gets underway this weekend. We will be doing a live watch-along for Adelaide, Sydney on Friday night. A-League X, what would be your top goal scorer and top assister? Top assists, let's say Denny Jonro at Melbourne Victory. Top goal scorer is an interesting one. Tell you what, top goal scorer, Adam Taggart. I think he'll be up there once again. I think he will. Chuck says, my top 3 signings is Chuck, Lawrence Tisserand, and Rashani, Elbasan Rashani. It looks to be like a fascinating signing, Elbasan Rashani, a decent signing. So, yeah, curious to see how he and Kanamori go at Melbourne City. Yeah. Good question, Chuck. Who will be the most exciting youngsters this season? Good question. Great question. I mean, there's a lot of hype obviously around Newcastle Jets and their young players heading into this campaign. I think someone like Oscar Fryer, maybe Will Dobson could be set for a big campaign. Matthias McAllister at Sydney FC. Chuck, I know you're a Sydney fan. I think Matthias McAllister could be set for a big breakout season at Sky Blues in the A-League. Paul O'Connor at Sydney FC also could be a key young player for them as well. So, yeah, there's lots of guys all across the league. I'm sure as always, every year, there's always a great contingent of young players who really break through in the A-League. It's always great to see. That's one of the key functions of the A-League, to develop these young players and allow them to perform in the A-League. Chuck says, I think Akolakon and Amlani Tatu could be the next Aaron Kunda, and I like the look of Haynames. Haynames could be set for a big breakout season. I agree with you, Chuck. Haynames is a player who, look, we know got that first season under his belt in the A-League at the Mariners. He could be set for a real big campaign, I reckon. Haynames. Big fan of Haynames. Huge round 1 coming up. Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane Royal, Macarthur SC. Western Sydney Wanderers taking on Melbourne City. Melbourne Victory all going to see a rematch of last year's semi-final. Perth Glory, Wellington. And then to finish off on Sunday, it's the F3 Derby as well. Oh, interesting question from Blinkus. First manager to be sacked? I mentioned it earlier, but I think the 2 guys who are under immense pressure are David Zrulich and Ufuk Talay. And based off my ladder prediction, I'm going to probably have to say Ufuk Talay. I think I'm going to say Ufuk Talay, yeah. Yeah, I think like Sydney, here's the thing, right? Like Sydney if even just a few weeks into the season, a month or 2 into the season, if Sydney FC aren't in the top 6, yeah, I think Sydney might part ways with Ufuk Talay. The fact that Sydney didn't make finals last year is just incredible. So he's under so much pressure, as is David Zrulich. David Zrulich, look, Perth Glory were really, really poor last season. So David Zrulich has to respond with Perth Glory this season as well. A-League X, love the question. Any tips for making your channel? What advice would you give to upcoming A-League creators? First of all, it's great to see that there's so many creators making content here on the A-League, because, of course, as we know, we don't really get that mainstream media attention. So it's up to us fans to make noise about the competition. Any advice? Good question. I think keep up with the consistency. And also focus on what you enjoy as well. Like when I started this channel, like 5 years ago, whatever it is now, I did start off just by focusing on Central Coast Mariners. But if you feel like you want to focus on the league in general, that's great as well, which is what I wanted to end up doing as well, sort of focus on the A-League as a whole. But yeah, consistency is a big thing. Just keep making that content and get people excited about it. And think about what video ideas, what content ideas would make you excited and interested, and go and make them. Go and make them. Yep, Chuck says here, Tale needs to start well or he's gone. Indeed. And Newcastle Just Fan TV says, this is a great round on paper. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Very much looking forward to it, guys. We will be doing a live watch along, not only this Friday, but Wednesday before that as well. We will be live this Wednesday, lunchtime, for USA versus Socceroos. Huge friendly match coming up for Australia. And then we are live Friday night for the first game of the new season. Adelaide United, Sydney FC. Join us on Friday evening. And enjoy the upcoming week of football, man. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Make sure to check out the ladder prediction video if you haven't done so already here on the channel. And I very much appreciate you guys tuning into this mega season preview live stream. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. Stay subscribed. We've got a lot of daily content on the way. The season gets underway this weekend. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, guys.